Hello and welcome to lyranara.com. Have you heard about the rollout of the new 5G network or about the dangers of electrosmog for you? Well, if you haven't, then this presentation is for you because we're going to present to you the scientific facts about electromagnetic radiation, and more specifically because it's a very recent development also about the dangers, the potential dangers of 5G. And of course, in the second part of the presentation, we're gonna present you a solution that helps you protect yourself against the electrosmog. So, without further ado, let's dive right in and learn more about the dangers of electrosmog and 5G and how you can protect yourself. So let's start by talking about the dangers of electrosmog for your health. And we're not going to go into assumptions or conspiracy theories here, but show you only what science has found out about this topic. And there are thousands of studies that link low-level wireless radio frequency radiation exposures to a long list of adverse biological effects. Those include DNA single and double strand breaks, which leads to cancer, oxidative damage, which leads to tissue deterioration as well as premature aging, disruption of the cell metabolism, increased blood-brain barrier permeability, melatonin reduction, which leads to insomnia and again an increased cancer risk, disruption of brain glucose metabolism, generation of stress proteins, which leads again to a myriad of diseases. Let's not also forget that in 2011 already the World Health Organization classified radio frequency radiation as a possible to be carcinogen. More recently, the 25 million National Toxicology Program in the US concluded that radio frequency radiation of the type currently used by cell phones can cause cancer. But that's unfortunately not all. There are also problems that can develop from this electrosmog for our skin, because we are already bombarded by high frequencies and we are going to be bombarded by really high frequencies at low short range and intensities that create a yet more complicated, denser soup of electrosmog with the introduction of 5G. And over 90% of this microwave radiation is absorbed by the epidermis and the dermis layers, so human skin basically acts as an absorbing sponge for microwave radiation. The biggest concern is therefore how this new wavelength will affect the skin. The human body has between 2 million and 4 million sweat ducts, and Dr. Ben Ishai of the Hebrew University in Israel explains that our sweat ducts act like an array of helical antennas when exposed to these wavelengths, meaning that we become more conductive. A recent New York study, which experimented with 60 GHz waves, stated that the analysis of penetration depths show that more than 90% of the transmitted power is absorbed in the epidermis and dermis layer. The effects of these microwaves, as studied by Dr. Yael Stein of the Hebrew University, is said to also cause humans physical pain as our nociceptors flare up in recognition of the wave as a damaging stimuli. So we are looking at possibilities of many skin diseases as well as cancer and physical pain sensations to our skin. Unfortunately, this type of electromagnetic radiation also causes problems for our eyes. A 1994 study found out that low-level millimeter microwave radiation produced lens opacity in rats, which is linked again to the production of cataracts. Another experiment conducted by the Medical Research Institute of Kanazawa Medical University found that 60 GHz Millimeter wave antennas can cause thermal injuries of varying types of levels. The thermal effects induced by millimeter waves can apparently penetrate below the surface of the eye, according to this study. Another study, a 2003 Chinese study, has also found damage to the lens epithelial cells of rabbits after only 8 hours of exposure to microwave radiation. And a 2009 study conducted by the College of Physicians and Surgeons in Pakistan concluded that the EMFs emitted by a mobile phone cause derangement of chicken embryo retinal differentiation. Heart problems have also been documented. For example, a 1992 Russian study found that frequencies in the range of 53 to 78 gigahertz, the same by the way as 5G proposes to use, impacted the heart rate variability, which is an indicator of stress. Another Russian study on skin exposed to MMW, so these microwave waves, found that heart rate changes causing arrhythmias. What about our immune system then and cell growth rates? Well, a 2002 Russian study examined the effects of 42 gigahertz microwave radiation exposure on the blood, and it was concluded that the whole body exposure of healthy individuals to low intensity EHF EMR has a profound effect on the indices of non-specific immunity. Another study, a 2016 study, observed that these microwaves at low intensity mirroring the future environment brought to us by 5G they conducted the study on E. coli and other bacteria and stated that the waves had depressed their growth as well as changed the properties and activities of the cells. Next up is the subject of bacteria resistance, because another study suggested that microwaves effects are mainly on water, cell plasma membranes and genome. And they had found out that MMW's interaction with bacteria altered their sensitivity to, quote, different biologically active chemicals including antibiotics, end quote. More specifically, the combination of this type of radiation and antibiotics showed that it may be leading to antibiotic resistance in bacteria. These groundbreaking findings could have a very profound effect on the health of human beings as the bandwidth is rolled out nationwide, and the concern is that we will develop a lower resistance to bacteria as our cells become more vulnerable, and we in turn become more vulnerable. And unfortunately, that's still not all, because there seem to be negative ramifications for all of the plants, the animals, and our ecosystem in general. Because one of the features of 5G is that microwaves are particularly susceptible to being absorbed by plants and rain. And humans and animals alike consume plants, of course, as a food source, and therefore the effects of this MMW radiation, which it has on plants, could leave us with food that's not safe to consume. Think GMOs on steroids. The water that falls from the sky onto these plants will also be irradiated. A 2010 study on plant seedlings showed that the exposure to radio frequencies led to the leaves showing necrosis symptoms. Another study found that this type of radiation, low-intensity microwave radiation, invokes, quote, peroxidase isoenzyme spectrum changes of wheat shoots, end quote. Peroxidase is a stress protein that exists in plants, and indications are that 5G will be particularly harmful to plants, perhaps more so than to humans. And since the year 2000, there have been reports of birds abandoning their nests, as well as health issues like plumage deterioration, locomotion problems, reduced survivorship, and death, according to researcher Alfonso Balmori. Bird species that are affected by these low levels non-ionizing microwave radiation are the house sparrows, for example, rock doves, white storks, collared doves, and magpies, among others. But it's not just the birds. The declining bee population is also said to be linked to this non-ionizing EMF radiation. It reduces the egg-laying abilities of the queen, leading to a decline in colony strength. A study conducted by Chennai's Loyola College in 2012 they concluded that out of 919 research studies carried out on birds, plants, bees and other animals as well as humans, 593 of them showed impacts from radio frequency EMF radiations. 5G will be adding to these effects of electrosmog. And unfortunately, when you go out there to research this subject for yourself, you will find out that many studies are not concluding the same thing. So they are contradicting themselves. If you look closely, you will find out that 70% of non-industry studies assess wireless radiation as harmful. But when you look at industry studies, the effects are reversed. Surprise, surprise, with only 32% showing that wireless radiation is harmful. 5G uses so-called pulse millimeter waves to carry information, but as Dr. Joel Moskowitz points out, most 5G studies are misleading because they do not pulse the waves. And this is important because research on microwaves already tells us how pulsed waves have more profound biological effects on our body compared to non-pulsed waves. Previous studies, for instance, show how pulse rates of the frequencies led to gene toxicity as well as DNA strand breaks. Quote, the new 5G wireless technology involves millimeter waves, which is extremely high frequencies, producing photons of much greater energy than even 4G and Wi-Fi. Allowing this technology to be used without proving its safety is reckless in the extreme, as the millimeter waves are known to have a profound effect on all parts of the human body. And this was a quote by Professor Trevor Marshall, director of Autoimmunity Research Foundation in California. I would like to show you another quote by Ronald Powell, PhD. He wrote a letter to the FCC on the 5G expansion. It would, quote, irradiate everyone, including the most vulnerable, to harm from radio frequency radiation. Pregnant women, unborn children, young children, teenagers, men of reproductive age, the elderly, the disabled, as well as the chronically ill, end quote. And they are not alone, those doctors and scientists, because 180 scientists have signed a petition to warn of the potential 5G health effects. And you can go to this web address displayed here and see it for yourself. There's also been a petition to the European Parliament signed by, again, hundreds of very well-renowned scientists from 42 countries that did the same and warned about the potential negative health effects of the introduction of the 5G network. I think this should be enough evidence to prove to you that indeed this type of electromagnetic radiation can be very dangerous, not only to your health but to the whole ecosystem. So the question then becomes, can we protect ourselves? Is it possible to cocoon, so to speak, ourselves against this type of electrosmog, to shield ourselves against the soup of radiation that is already in the atmosphere around us? And the clear answer, unfortunately, is no. We can only achieve an active protection against electrosmog, and this is possible with the unique BOSS 318 system that I'm gonna introduce to you right now. And you can only get it exclusively at lyranara.com, link in the description box below for you. So how does it work? How does it protect yourself? The device generates energetic fields which you normally find only in undisturbed, pristine nature. Under ideal cognitive circumstances, our brain also creates these energetic fields naturally. And therefore it knows the types of fields, and the brain recognizes them, this positive bioenergetic state, and it will synchronize itself with these stimulating frequencies. It will not react to the harmful microwave frequencies anymore. It will literally ignore them, and instead it will tune in into the natural beneficial signals that the BOS318 creates around you. The BOS318 has photon sources that emit light, which is identical to natural light, and these frequencies are also modulated, and this is unique also to the system, with so-called natural sunlight frequencies that are also known as solar noise. All natural light is modulated by this frequency spectrum. Actually, nature has developed under this light spectrum. Also unique to the BOS318 is that it has an integrated Tesla coil, which will generate scalar fields. Why is this important? Because we can create nature-like scalar fields with Tesla coils when we input a pulsating current known as the Schumann frequencies into a Tesla coil. The system creates beneficial, nature-identical energy fields. It also comes with 3 main frequencies that correspond to very important brain frequencies, and those are super delta, the global earth resonance, also known as the Schumann frequency, and the alpha brain frequency, and all of those are modulated by the sun noise. You can also additionally connect any MP3 device for selected modulations such as mantras, prayers, and meditations, or other audio frequencies generating devices. It's also very easy to operate and can be operated in a manual and an automatic mode. In automatic mode, the frequencies are changing automatically, of course, and in manual mode, you can select the frequencies as desired. And you can also change manually between daylight and sunset light. And I'm going to explain in the course of this presentation more in depth what the benefits are of daylight and sunlight and the sunset light, and when you should apply them, what the health benefits are, as well as what the health benefits of each of these frequencies are. So let's talk a little bit more detail about the health benefits of the BOS318 system. As we've mentioned already, you can only compensate for the field disturbances. You cannot shield yourself completely off from them. And fortunately enough, our brain cannot differentiate between natural and man-made energetic fields like those created by the BOS318 system. This means that when the fields are identical in frequency and amplitude with the natural fields, they have the same positive effect. And our body, as well as our brain, will feel as if they were in undisturbed, pristine nature. And the BOS318 system creates these beneficial energetic fields just like in nature. The brain recognizes this ideal natural energetic environment and tunes preferentially into it. As a result, your blood circulation, blood pressure, your pulse, and your breathing normalizes. Muscle cramps and contractions are relieved. And also with dark field microscopy, we can observe the unclumping of red blood cells taking place, which in turn means that the risks for thrombosis, heart attack, and strokes diminish significantly. And the device creates light waves that mimic perfectly those of natural daylight or those of a natural sunset. What are the advantages and the health benefits of this? Well, when it comes to daylight, the spectral composition of daylight drives the biological rhythm of the hormonal composition of blood. And these chronobiological impulses are controlled by the so-called epiphysis through the photons which are absorbed through our eyes. When the eyes receive the full spectrum of daylight, all hormones can be produced in ideal composition by our bodies, and as a result you feel balanced, creative, fit and healthy, as your body can face the daily immunological burdens much better. When it comes to the sunset light, when the sun approaches the horizon, the long wave parts of light dominate, as we all know, meaning that the red spectrum is predominant. And your epiphysis now produces more melatonin. And this hormone fulfills many important functions within our bodies. Amongst others, it is responsible for a healthy, restful sleep. Mobile phone radiation, as well as Wi-Fi, UMTS, and 5G, as well as other types of microwave radiation, inhibit melatonin production. And also careful, many LED therapy devices that are available on the market today miss this necessary red spectrum, and this results in a melatonin deficiency, which is one of the main causes of sleep disturbances. Other health benefits that the BOSS 318 system will bring you is that it also, as I've mentioned already shortly, generates a so-called scalar field, which fades out disturbing fields efficiently and creates an electrobiological feel-well climate for work and recreation. The scalar field created by the inbuilt Tesla coil covers over disturbance fields until they become irrelevant, and thereby you can protect your nervous system from this harmful radio-infested environment that we live in. The biologically active range of the scalar field, the wellness cocoon the BOSS 318 creates around you, reaches to about 26 to 33 feet. And this range enables you to easily cover your office or any of your living spaces. BOSS 318 also protects you from the harmful radiation your computer produces. It also creates energetic fields which reduce the negative effects of electrosmog. The BOSS system creates an energy cloud around you that is filled with beneficial frequencies, and this makes you extremely resilient to the electromagnetic radiation of our modern lives. And as I've mentioned already shortly, the device can create three types of frequencies, brain frequencies, the super delta, the alpha, and the global frequencies. So let's see what each one of those frequencies can do for you. Starting with the super delta frequency, the slowest known brain frequency, it ranges from 0.5 to 1.8 Hertz. The amplitude is very low, 0.5 to 20 nanovolts, and its frequency is very variable. This brain frequency stimulates the pineal gland that is responsible for melatonin production, and as we've already talked about, melatonin is a very important hormone. It is also known as an anti-aging hormone and a very potent immunostimulant. So what does the super delta frequency do for you? It stimulates production of endorphin, it stimulates the production of melatonin, it improves your mood, it reduces pain sensations, and also regulates your pulse and blood pressure. The second brain frequency that the device can create is the so-called global frequency, also known as the Earth's resonance frequency or the Schumann frequency. It is the natural energetic frequency of the Earth's own electromagnetic field, and this frequency tells the brain everything is okay. It is the classic relaxation and feel well frequency. This brain frequency is efficient against all kinds of bioenergetic disturbances of high as well as low frequency electrosmog. Especially unwanted reactions to cell phones and 5G frequencies are neutralized by this frequency. It brings you improved adaptation capabilities to the circadian rhythm. Also, it reduces the jet lag after flights. It's a classic well-being and feel-well frequency. It's very effective help for withdrawals also, for example, from cigarettes or alcohol, etc. And also improves your immunity to electrosmog. The third frequency is the alpha frequency, and the alpha frequency is responsible for relaxation, balanced blood pressure, and a well-adapted pulse. According to the body's needs, those parameters can adapt more quickly to the environment, and the alpha frequency is also known as the so-called super learning frequency. It improves learning capabilities significantly and optimizes memory functions. And therefore many students use this function, for example, for exam preparation. The alpha frequency also stimulates the production of serotonin and endorphin and acts thereby stress relieving. So it brings you deep relaxation and relaxed, effortless, heightened attention, clear thinking capabilities and improvements in thinking overall, super learning capabilities, and it also reduces uncontrolled muscle movements. So there you have it. Let's summarize what we've learned in this presentation. First, we've learned that we cannot escape the electromagnetic radiation cloud we live in, and with the rollout of 5G we will get an even stronger and potentially more harmful toxic microwave impact. The solution is to create a healthy biosphere around you which resembles an undisturbed, healthy environment again, and your brain, as we have seen, will naturally tune in preferentially into these energetic fields which mimic undisturbed nature. And here there is only one device on the market that we know of today. That is the BOSS 318 system that can achieve this. It's affordable, it's easy to use, it's light, compact and portable. Take it with you wherever you go. It's highly efficient. It's the only device on the market that combines light with sound therapy, but it also modulates all of this by solar noise and scalar waves as well as Schumann frequencies. No other device does this. It has no side effects and it is of the highest quality, built by a very well-known company that has been producing and developing devices of this kind for over 30 years. So I'm gonna link the BOSS 318 system in the description box below for you. Give it a try, you will not be disappointed. If you have further questions on this system or on everything we have discussed in this presentation, also do not hesitate to call us. We love to talk to you and advise you on what is best for you. Shop@lyranara.com. I'm also going to post the full contact information, including our toll-free phone numbers, in the description box below. If you've enjoyed this presentation, please also do not forget to support our work by liking, sharing and subscribing. And with all that being said, stay healthy until next time.